the getting back to the topic to the community and very specific technical question is that one biggest problem to me to bring the CoderDojo in Japan is the language problem. There are many resources and documents and how to get started. CoderDojo is all written in English, but to begin with, the CoderDojo in Japan is translating it into in Japanese. And I'm now digging into the hack club in the GitHub, and then there is implemented in Ruby, and it's really one of the best. I love the languages in the hack club, and then in the API, I think the Rails have the internationalization scheme to translate from English into other languages. Is there any way to translate the hack club into the documents or resources?
100%. I mean, so here I can kind of walk through. For Hack Club specifically, our internationalization is not great, and we actually are like specifically choosing to keep everything in English right now. And the reason why is we're a 2-person team trying to run a program in like a few hundred high schools, and that is really operationally intense. And we need to make sure that we pick our battles. But long term, for sure. Like so, I mean, this is the Hack Club website. But there are a few resources on here on the site directly. So like the workshops are the main one. This is our curriculum to help people get started. Each workshop walks you through building a real project because everything in Hack Club is based on projects. So for example, by the end of the first meeting, everyone builds this website. Well, everyone does this workshop. And when you do this workshop, it's about 45 minutes long. And by the end of it, you have this site online. And we set the precedent where if you walk out of the room with a website that looks like this, you failed. The whole point of this workshop is like build something interesting. It's like this helps you get something online, but like use Google to like how do you change a background image? How do you add more images? Like how do you add videos? How do you add links? How do you change the font? Like how do you actually make it interesting? And what's cool is like we try to push it to the next level. Where like the sort like this is like an example of sort of projects that like we get excited about when we come out of it, right? So this is Sophie. This is our first website she's ever built, and it's a website for Kanye. So you can see that every time you change you refresh, it changes the background image, and you can see that you can very clearly see how this is based on this, but like she changed the font, she added like a backdrop there, she added multiple pages. She's a big user of a website called Tumblr, so she found this on someone's Tumblr, like this like animation, so she copied and pasted the code. And what's cool is like if you look at the code, it's a mess. It's like horrible. Like oh my god. Oh, she actually looks like she refactored it. Oh wow. It looks like she actually refactored it, which is very cool. You can see like copied and pasted a bunch of other people's code and whatnot. But what's cool is like she walked out with a real project that's actually meaningful. So like when it comes to translating these resources, everything's still in English. But it is all open source too. I mean, it's all on GitHub. It's all in this repo is our main like content repo, and then we have a number of other repos where it's like hackathons is a thing where like it helps high school students find events ran by other hack clubs in their area. So like you can see this, and like these are some of the events that are upcoming around the world right now.
Is it the Japanese character?
Yeah. So what does this say? Yeah. Does this mean anything?
But we can read because it's written in Japanese. But I don't get the meanings of that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah. I think it's like an aesthetic thing because this event is in Toledo in Ohio, which is like in the middle of nowhere in the U.S. It's definitely and they're involved with the CoderDojo in Toledo too.
Okay. Now I get it.
But for the Japanese, right now there's a thing in the. Have any of you heard of vaporwave? It's like a vaporwave. No, it's like a. I feel so silly showing this. Vaporwave is like a thing that is like popular among teenagers in the United States right now. It's like a genre of like music almost. Where like it's like so it's music that sounds like this, and then it's paired with a visual aesthetic that looks like this, and there's a lot of like like vaporwave that is like here, that follows like the Japanese aesthetic or like the Tokyo or like what Americans see the Tokyo aesthetic as being. So what happened is this event is a vaporwave themed hackathon, and it's like aesthetically pleasing to follow that view. So that's where the Japanese characters come from, which is kind of funny. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It's more like Americans think that it looks cool.
Cool.
But yeah, so like we have like this resource and a bunch of others. Right now it's all in English. We can build an internationalization layer, and at some point we plan on doing that. But right now, like it's such a challenge to make sure that like we update everything in other languages.
So now Hack Club is the worldwide, not only USA but the other countries. But
Yeah.
All of the countries using the English.
So individual chapter leaders are responsible for translating materials for their clubs. So what happens is like everything that we provide is in English, and then some of them use English because their schools have good English courses. So like for example, in Spain, most people know how to read English. They're not particularly good at speaking it, but they know how to read it. So like they just use the English resources. We don't have a dog on that one, but there's another in Estonia where that's kind of the same deal, where they know how to read it, but they can't speak it. But yeah, and then in India they either like use it or English resources or translate it, and then in China they translate it, and then the one in Turkey translates too. So it kind of depends club to club. And usually what happens is leaders will get in touch with each other, and then they'll translate stuff together. So for example, we have a club in Peru over here, but we also have a club in Spain, and like they both speak Spanish, so like they will share resources with each other when they translate it. I wish we could provide more support there, but like the reality is like we're so small, we have to pick our battles right now.